everyone. Welcome to another episode of Customer Success Talks, Real Challenges, Experts Advice. I'm your host, Byron Toruño, a customer success nerd, passionate about customer success. And just like you, I'm still learning about this amazing world. And today's not the exception. Today's another chapter in our day-to-days where we're going to learn something new. And today we're going to be talking about onboarding. We're going to be talking about dealing with senior stakeholders during the onboarding process. That can be sometimes a little bit kind of scary, I will not lie. But for that, we have an amazing expert today. We're talking about an expert, and we're talking about Donna Weber, a world-leading expert in customer onboarding with over 2 decades of experience with when it comes to helping high growth stand-ups companies and established enterprise to turn their new and existing customers to what we are looking for, loyal champions. And Donna has also is the author of this amazing book. As you can see, I used it more than once already. And she has her masterclass. This book is the Onboarding Matters. It's definitely a book that I recommend everyone to read. And before I tell you a little bit more about the book, Donna, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you.
The pleasure is all mine. It's a real pleasure to see you again and to talk with you and to, you talked about nerding out and always learning, but the thing is our industry is always changing too. So there's always more to learn and talk about.
That's true. As the industry evolves, our customers evolve, and we have to evolve as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So let's start with a little bit about Onboarding Matters. Donna, what should someone expect when they actually go and read this amazing book?
Well, thank you for sharing about my book, Byron. What I hear most frequently is that people say it's the most practical business book they've ever read. And, a lot of business books can be a bit dry. I'm a very practical person. And so I provide a lot of practical tips and guidance as well as insights to really, not just selling your customers a product, not just deploying your product, but really driving value to customers and ensuring that they stick around and buy more.
Something I also noticed, Donna, as I was reading your book, is that one doesn't have to have a lot of experience into customer success to actually understand all the tactical strategies that you're giving us in that book. It actually illustrates from left to right, top to bottom, how to have a successful onboarding. It's like having a group of musicians, basically, right?
Oh, well, thank you. Yes. It's like having it's like making sure everyone knows the part that they play for ensuring customers are successful. It's not just one person's role. It's not just one team's role. For example, I was just on site with a company last week in Seattle, and we brought all the customer-facing teams together, and they were so, grateful to hear the challenges and the opportunities that other teams are working on. They didn't know. And, they were so focused on their internal metrics and so siloed that what gets lost in all that is really the customer, the lens on the customer, and providing a cohesive, unified experience for the customer. That's the goal. And not just kind of making sure every team's doing their separate things.
Yeah, a lot of team collaboration. It's never a one team, a one person work. And that all comes about that big umbrella that is always customer experience, and then under it, right? Everything that comes with it.
But that's why when I work with companies, I don't just work with an onboarding team or a customer success team. We bring in marketing, we bring in product teams, sales teams, support, education, because we all need to work together and everyone has a piece of the pie, and we need to make a really delicious, delightful pie for that customer, not just having little crumbs here and there that they might enjoy or not.
So maybe people are thinking that today's a cooking class now.
Maybe, we'll see.
Donna, I definitely agree. But I also know that you have a masterclass, right? You offer a masterclass.
Correct.
All of that information, people, will be in the about section, but let us know what people will expect from it.
Yeah, so the thing is, I leverage my book as the text for the masterclass, and I deliver it in cohorts of groups of 10 or less. And I have folks from all over the world join. And the goal is that you come in, it's a very highly interactive class. You learn from everyone in the cohort. We have a community, there's self-paced content.
Wow.
And then we get together and I go over some of the basics, but I'm not just lecturing. What the goal is, you have assignments to build out your optimized onboarding framework. You share
Wow.
it with a group and you get feedback from everyone. And the thing is, you learn where other companies are stuck. People share with me that it's such a relief to know they're not alone, that they aren't the only ones dealing with those challenges. Or maybe they have seen another company has solved their similar challenges or has a similar type of business. There's a lot to learn from each other. And there's a lot of interactivity. So I'm really like facilitating that so we can all learn together and build that community as well.
Wow, you're creating like small communities there.
Yeah,
Everyone with
and
the same
then
mindset.
they submit homework and we review it. And then I also provide coaching if you want to dive deep into what's going on with your onboarding. And then I provide one-to-one guidance there as well.
Isn't this incredible, Donna? How onboarding is so essential, but it's also something so broad. It's one pillar of so many
Yeah.
pillars of the customer journey, but there's a lot to do in it.
There is a lot to do. And of course, it depends on your business and your customers and your product. Onboarding can take 1 minute and it can take
Mm.
1 year.
I was surprised when seeing in the book where you also mentioned the timelines when it comes to onboarding and the different complexity as well. I'm used to maybe 1 month, but it's crazy how it can go up to more than even 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah, I find 3 to 6 months is most common.
Interesting. And Donna, seems incredible what you're doing, and you're bringing all of those research and years of experience into this into helping people help their customers to advocate for them from the beginning to set them up for success. That's my definition of this, Donna. Amazing.
Thank you.
Donna, let's dive into the challenge that we're going to tackle today because there are challenges that we all go through, especially when it comes to senior stakeholders during the onboarding process, right? And as customer success professionals, one of the key challenges that we face is actually effectively onboarding those senior stakeholders within our organization. And here it all depends a lot of how big is the organization, how complex is the product, but the engagement with those stakeholders tend to be different than when we have other not that tenure stakeholders. And I wanted to know, Donna, what approaches have you found more effective in engaging with senior stakeholders during the onboarding process?
Well, I'll share with you how I work with companies,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm leveraging my own best practices. And
Wow.
then we'll talk about how you can tackle that challenge as well. For example, I'm the sales rep, and then I'm in a sense let's say the onboarding specialist or the customer success manager, consultant specialist, right? So during the buyer journey, I meet with a stakeholder and we define what the requirements are, and I create a proposal. So now post sales, what I do is I have the buyer stay engaged for a handoff or a kickoff meeting. During that time, I leverage the objectives, the approach, and I move that into a customer success plan, a
Mm,
success plan. And on my website, there is a link under resources where you can download my success plan template. And it's been downloaded over 1,000 times now.
amazing.
So what I do is now we have the stakeholder and the project team together, and we talk through the objectives. And sometimes the team might say, well, that's not realistic, the timeframes, hey, that's not going to work. We have this huge product release coming. It's all hands on deck. So it's an opportunity for that project team to have a say and to give
Mm,
their input to help ensure that this project is going to be successful. In addition, we talk about any risks and how we're going to resolve them, and escalations. We have an agreement. So for example, a risk might be, hey, we have that product release coming. Great. Well, how are we going to resolve that? You know, how do I resolve how we're going to address any blockers that come up? So again, we have an agreement together. And what I do is I stay engaged with the stakeholder throughout the project, and we meet weekly. So for example, this company I'm working with right now, the stakeholder and I would meet every week. It might be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15, but I was sharing with them every week what's working well, what's not working well, my findings. And so it wasn't like they just disappeared.
Right.
So so that might be where the CSM. So then let me just translate it to onboarding a company. So one, during in my book, I have 6 stages. One is the Embark stage, and the second is the handoff stage, and the third is the kickoff stage. So during the Embark stage, that's where you would start to set expectations with the customer about what happens after the deal closes. And that would be saying, hey, you know, Byron, you're the stakeholder. You're going to help us kick off the meeting with your core team. And so they know what's expected and they can hear all of that, what was purchased and why. So during that way, we have an internal handoff meeting, which more companies do. But now you have a customer handoff meeting. And the reason that's so important is a lot of times a product is sold, and then there's this project team that's supposed to suddenly make it a priority and implement it. And they don't know why it was purchased. They weren't part of any of those conversations. They don't know where it fits in to their landscape. They have competing priorities. And then what happens is onboarding teams get stuck dealing with this frustrated project team who may resist. They don't want to onboard your product. They're too busy. They got 3 other products they're onboarding. And so that by taking a little time up front, staying strategic, talking about the big picture, helping the project team understand what was purchased and why and where it fits into their world, is going to save a lot of time downstream and hopefully reduce and remove all those frustrations and resistance. They need to be on your team, right? And then having an agreement to stay engaged with that stakeholder throughout the onboarding, especially if it's long. You may not be meeting every week like I do, but you might be meeting once a month. It doesn't have to be a big, you know, review, quarterly, monthly business review. It's just a check-in, you know, and I have done this where, you know, and then also having that agreement on how to handle risks and issues. So I have done this, you know, I get the cell phone number of my stakeholder. I have done this. I've had folks on the project team who were holding everyone else hostage. They were being very negative and basically stalled out any momentum. And I called the CEO, who was my buyer, and I said, hey, this person has stalled out the program. We need to talk. And we talk about it and we resolve it immediately. A lot of customer-facing teams, when they hit issues, they just kind of like hope they go away. And we need to deal with them immediately. Like, we don't let them fester. We don't let them, you know, we don't want those teams to ghost us. Hey, if those onboarding, the folks you're working with during onboarding aren't showing up to meetings, bam, call the stakeholder right away. So we have that agreement in place. Issues come up. I've had the wrong people on the teams. We talk about it. I've had times where I'm coaching the stakeholder on how to manage their team members. I've had times where we had to change the scope. So, you know, it's really important that we discuss all of that immediately. And onboarding teams and customer success teams are often a bit reticent because they feel like more comfortable being in the tactical and in the details. They feel less comfortable, and they feel more comfortable dealing with maybe the more technical people or the project people, and they feel a bit intimidated about dealing with the stakeholders. So there's an opportunity for our whole industry to step up and be peers with these executives and have these honest conversations. It's only going to help everybody.
Basically, this is amazing, Donna, because what you're giving here is a whole strategy from the beginning to a point where we always keep the customer engaged, by keeping them always in the loop and keeping them busy, right? So you're saying having those weekly, we could be bi-weekly, maybe. I don't know if you recommend monthly as well.
Well, it all depends on what makes
Mm.
sense. If it's a really short onboarding, you might be checking in twice a week. If it's
Mhm.
really long, it might be checking in monthly.
And then
But
what?
you need to make sure, hey, what's going on things are moving forward. You're addressing blockers as they come up. Everyone's busy. Everyone has shifting priorities. There's a great book I read called Wired to Resist by
Mhm.
Britt Andriotta. And it's all about change management. And the thing is, our brains are wired to resist change. So even though your product might be the most awesome thing, when you roll it out, one, there's the deployment, and two, there's the change of using a new tool. And people are wired to resist change. So you're naturally going to be met with resistance. In addition, what I learned in that book is that we are all on multiple change journeys. And
Oh,
so let's say there might be huge change initiatives going on at your customers' company.
right.
That might be they're rolling out several different types of new technologies. There might be a change in leadership. There might be a huge reorg. There might be a moving of offices, right? And some of those change journeys are short and steep. Some of them are long and less steep. But in addition, we all have our change journeys personally.
Right.
New children, dying parents, moving house, partners changing jobs, children going to new schools, health issues. And so, what's happening, we think, hey, we sold our product and that's the only thing on people's minds. But that
No.
is just not the case. So I think it's really important to be having these conversations so that we can navigate all of this huge amount going on in people's lives. And the
Mhm.
reality, changes are happening faster and more frequently. So people are suffering change fatigue. So we need to be
Right.
part of that journey with them.
You're basically being part of their journey as well by having this, all of this, keeping them on the loop, keeping them engaged, having those meetings with them. You're actually also being their right hand. By
Yeah.
that way, you can be able to see all of those situations that you just explained. That okay, so what is going to happen next week that it will prevent us from reaching our next milestone?
And you become a trusted advisor, not just somebody throwing a new product at them. So that's
Definitely.
key. And that's part of also, a long time a relationship with a company, ideally, increased usage, expansion, upsells, cross sells. It all starts there at the beginning.
And a lot of that you're generating there is that momentum that the customer have from the beginning, from sales, then the momentum from onboarding, and then keep generating that momentum and keep it to the for the next one.
I just want to put a caveat. Of course,
Yeah,
this is more for a high touch
yeah.
onboarding. And then, the sales reps are great at building relationship collateral and building trust. So
Mhm.
we need to continue that.
How can we tailor the communication and to resonate to those C-suite executive and decision makers?
Well, I think it's good to ask them, hey, how would you like to communicate?
Simple.
Text me, Slack me, send me a Teams message, send me a weekly status. I would just ask them. What I find, there's some executives, if it's not in a spreadsheet, it doesn't exist for them. Others, if it's not
Mm,
in a slide, it doesn't exist for them.
let's
So
make it
making
easy for
sure
them.
it's communicating in the way that they want to be communicated. So, at this company I'm working with now, they asked for a weekly status every Friday, which I email to the team. And it's like, what happened this week and what's happening next week? And that's what I just do, like bullets. And I send that out every Friday morning.
So what is easy for them? It's always the our way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's about the customer, not us.
That's true.
And the thing is also like, one, we need to be cognizant of the time we're spending with customers, because first of all, it costs our company money every time we touch customers. Every time we engage customers, it's costing us time and therefore money. But every time we engage customers, we're costing their money. We're costing them time and money, you know? And so we need to be really responsible with that. I think a lot of customer facing teams don't get that, you know, we might be having a meeting, but if I'm wasting their time, I'm not getting to the point, I'm not delivering any value, I'm not moving things forward, then I've wasted them time and I'm costing them money. One company actually told me that their customers are like, yeah, your product's great and it's saving us a lot of money, but we spend so much time with your customer success teams that we've just like lost all that benefit
Oh,
in
wow.
money. Yeah.
Oh my God. So they're creating the opposite of what normally they
Yeah.
wanted to do at the beginning, I guess.
Yeah. Another company I worked with, their customer success teams were measured on how many meetings they had with customers. And so everyone's scheduling meetings and like they're all exhausted because all they're doing is sitting in meetings all day.
Right.
And it's like, well, so what? Why are you having meetings? You know, like every time we meet, I should be delivering value to you. Otherwise, we shouldn't meet. The real value then would be to say, send an email or a message. So you need to think about like why we're meeting, what's the outcome. And I get to the point, like when we're having meetings, if we're done in 7 minutes, the meeting is over. I'm not counting, you know, I'm not having a meeting just to have a meeting.
Definitely. Time is money. Time is money. Always.
And
Right?
then, but I do always take time to connect with people. So it's important
Mhm.
to connect because we're people, just like you and I connected for a moment offline before, you know, that so before, you know, we don't want to just be these rigid technology business people. We connect as people. That helps to build trust. So, you know, 2 to 3 minutes of small talk, um, can be really helpful.
Can be human to human. It's not
Yeah.
B2B, B2C, it's
Mhm.
H to H, right? Donna,
H2H, I love that.
how can we play with digital customer success here? What is like the strategies that we can build in our framework that includes that digital touch as well? Because maybe this company, they have segments and they're not able or capable to scale all that is white glove onboarding. How can we segment that and also reach to the other ones a little bit in the bottom?
Well, can I share a story about
Oh,
an
please.
experience I had with a company? So this is more of a B2C experience, but it
Mm-hmm.
would be so easy to leverage. This is a company that sells heating and air conditioning. In the US, we call it HVAC. And so we were getting a new furnace and air conditioning unit installed.
Right.
And we met with many vendors, and also I moved into a new house, a new to me house 2 years ago. So we worked with a lot of different vendors. But this one vendor, I was so impressed. We scheduled a meeting for the technicians to come on site and understand our requirements and our environment, and then they would give us a quote. And they texted me and emailed me saying, here's what to expect during the meeting. Here's what to have ready. So they wanted me to have my electricity bill. They wanted access to the crawl space under the house. They said this will take 60 to 90 minutes. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end, we will provide you a quote and walk through that with you. They also, before the person came, they sent a text with their photos. You know, these people are coming on site. And then after that was over, they sent me all the details of the quote. They sent me if I needed any financing. They had links to websites and resources
Seems like they had
and
everything
next
covered.
steps, as well as an email introducing me to the person who would schedule the next phase. So that was all done digitally. That's using a platform. I thought this is such a great platform. I asked them, what tool are you using for this? It's called Service Titan. And
Ah,
they're a platform for like field service workers, like plumbers and the heating and air conditioning, electricians.
right.
And then coincidentally, my nephew works at that company. So I was all
Oh,
excited.
it's
On the other hand, I worked with a company that we were looking at solar panels, which we ended up not being able to get for reasons I won't go into.
right.
But we had like the salesperson came to our house. We sat around our kitchen table. We agreed we were going to move forward with them. We paid a deposit, and then we didn't hear anything for 2 weeks. And that's where buyer's remorse set in. Like, did
Yeah.
we just lose our money? We had no introduction to the next person. We had developed all this trust. This person was recommended to me by a neighbor and friend. And then we just sat around for 2 weeks. And the thing is, because my brain wasn't filled in with the next step, I start building these, I go into prospection and rumination and creating stories. And when our brains create stories, they're usually worst case scenarios.
Definitely,
So
yeah.
all they needed to do was say, hey, thank you for your deposit. Here's an email introducing you to the office person who will schedule your next meeting with the technician,
Yeah.
and that's all we needed. In addition, having this is more for if they're going to be engaging with people, it builds a lot of trust to have photos of the people so that we can kind of anchor on a person. That helps as well. And those are really simple. Just tell people, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's happening. Here's where we are. Here's where we're going. Here's where we've been. It can be very simple. I also like to share visuals of a journey to show like, this is where we are in the journey. So you could say, so for example, I have my 6-stage onboarding journey. So just showing an image with a highlight of where we are. People like to know that. That can be sent in an email. Great. You've uploaded your your customer's data, so first is the, create an account. Second is upload your data. Third, create your first report. Fourth, send out an email campaign. Who knows, but you can help them know where they are in the journey and how long each thing takes, because we're all busy. We're all on these different change journeys. So is this going to take me 5 seconds, 5 hours, 5 days? I think we need to respect our customers.
Definitely. I love your passion, and I love how the importance of getting to know your customers. Donna, it's time to start wrapping up today's episode. Unfortunately,
already?
Yeah, I know times run so fast, but it has been an episode full of a lot of insights, a lot of stories as well, a lot of tactical strategies that I'm pretty sure everyone is gonna be able to implement. And I want to ask you the last question of the day is, what advice would you give to everyone there who's having these challenges with senior stakeholders? Any last tips?
So you have to set it up before. So you don't sell the deal and start working with the project team and then try to figure out how you're going to engage with a stakeholder. So you would set that up during the buyer journey, get the sales rep to tell them you're going to be meeting with this person. This is why, this is what we expect of you. So you can create a slide and a script for a salesperson. You might join some of the sales meetings later in the sales journey, like when you get a verbal commit. And so you start helping them to see where we're going on the journey together so that they're not surprised. What? You want me to stay engaged? Now, let's say if your product is being sold like through a procurement department, well, then you would still try to find like a leader that you would stay engaged with and work with having the sales rep introduce you. So you're not digging around trying to connect with them and they're going, who are you? Why should I meet with you? I don't know why. You need them to know the value.
Right.
When we meet together, our onboarding and implementation takes 20% faster. It saves you time and money.
No best way to close this episode, Donna. Thank you again very much for your time, for your words, for your for all of these insights that you're giving again out there. And I just want to remind everyone that we are also expanding to Latin America. We have Customer Success Talks Latin America. It's our Spanish. Yeah, thank you. Gracias. And Donna, you do speak Spanish, right?
Un poquito solamente.
Muy bien, muy bien.
I can eat and shop in Spanish.
Well, you can survive then. And everyone, we have this Spanish version, which you're going to find in the description section as well. We are in Spotify and on YouTube. We are slowly growing into Latin America as well, because we all have different challenges and different needs as customers and also as customer success managers. Donna, thank you very much again. I cannot stop thanking you. Thank you for the creation of this amazing book as well. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone. Remember, keep growing, keep learning, and let's keep improving the world of customer success. Until next time.